Awesome, thank you. Good evening. Let's see, this is the March 7, 2024 Policy Committee meeting for MSAD11. I'll go around and do introductions. My name's Tony Veet. I am the chair of the Policy Committee.
Molly Rogers.
Jack Fedoroff.
Joanne O'Brien.
Pat Hopkins, superintendent.
Great. So we have an agenda tonight that actually looks at some job descriptions, a little variation off of our policy. I know we've been kind of meaning to do the job description review for a little bit. And then our agenda actually is a little bit modified. We're also going to look at the graduation requirement policy. I'm okay to go through as is. Is there one that we should get done, like the graduation requirement?
Graduation absolutely needs to be done. So if you want to do that first.
So yeah, let's start with that. And that was the one that came out, had gone through curriculum committee.
Correct.
And had come to us just recently.
Correct. This has already been through the review by members of the board's curriculum committee. These are recommendations that are coming forth from the administration as well and has already been reviewed. So I will leave it at that and see what questions. Oh, shoot.
Does everybody have a copy of it?
The copy that I just distributed to some of you. I don't think that's the same copy I sent to you last night.
Okay.
And so I know what I'm missing. So let me just.
Do we have an extra hard copy, Pat?
Oh, I do. Yes.
Please, thank you.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, so let me pull up what I sent you last night. Okay, so in the policy I sent to you, it included one additional piece that I don't see in the document that I copied, okay?
Okay.
And that is under G. So G is the last section under honors and awards at graduation. So the document, if you have a hard copy, the document ends at the Latin honors will also be recognized as cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude. There is another section that is supposed to be there, and it is in what I emailed you last night that says, while designation of honors will be calculated in the spring semester prior to graduation and recognized at graduation, honor status may change based upon final calculation of grades upon the close of the semester after graduation ceremonies have concluded. That has happened. That has happened. We've had graduation, and all of a sudden the valedictorian is no longer the valedictorian. The salutatorian, the valedictorian have switched, and maybe who was in the top 10, right? Number 10 is now number 11, or number 10 is now number 8. So that has happened because sometimes the scores or the grades are just so close. So we added that a few years ago. As a result, there was a big brouhaha around that. So I grabbed the wrong policy to copy for you. So I just wanted to be really clear that should be included.
Yeah, and I do see it in the emailed version.
Okay.
So.
Do we no longer offer Algebra 2?
We do.
Okay, it's just no longer required.
It's no longer mandated, right? So students, they have to take Algebra 1, geometry, and then they have some choice for their third year. Some will choose Algebra 2. Other students who may be not taking a different track will not take Algebra 2.
Okay.
I just have a question, since you said there was a brouhaha in years past. Are there awards, that monetary awards or scholarship awards based on being a valedictorian or salutatorian? Or is it simply an honorific?
I think it's just an honorific. What I'm thinking about actually is like to or no. So the valedictorian may receive a scholarship as a result of being valedictorian. But we have to make those decisions, of course, after the end of the first semester, which would be middle of January, beginning of February. So it has happened, doesn't happen frequently, but it certainly has occurred.
So someone could have their scholarship rescinded.
I don't think so. I think we've left it, but I don't know that that was the factor.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't think that happened. I think once they were awarded, they get to keep that scholarship, that we're not gonna take it from them. But I would have to follow up with the guidance department to give you a 100% correct response.
Yeah, because I could see if you had a scholarship to Orono and then Orono says, oh, you're no longer the valedictorian, we checked with your school.
Right.
That could be a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, is it ever where schools would set a deadline as to what day they determine, regardless of end of year date?
Like a college?
No.
We have to make the determination after the end of the first semester
Okay.
for the,
So it's really just technically the grades change enough.
they can be for the second semester. So it
And-
matters what our top 10 are doing. They can't just take off that last
Mhm.
semester
Right.
and not have it impact them.
And just to clarify, you said the grades can be very close, and we're talking sometimes tenths or hundredths of a point,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That students could be
Right.
ahead or behind, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our courses weighted as well in terms of like honors courses weighted more heavily than general courses, and AP classes weighted more.
Yes. Yeah, that's in this policy. I'm pretty certain as to how that's calculated.
Right, AP and. All that,
All right, anything else on this? Again, it was vetted pretty thoroughly, I believe.
so actually just a slight conjugation piece. Oh, thanks, yeah, nice. Two things. So on let's see, on C in the outline, remaining credits may be selected by the student based on their interest. In the second line, end of the second line, it's lined out he, she. But it's requirements of the field that they plan to enter upon graduation.
Okay, you said C. I have multiple
Oh.
Cs.
Oh,
Okay.
I see that now, actually, so,
On page two,
Okay.
thank you.
in the middle.
Yeah,
All right, so the remaining credits
Yeah.
is based on their interest, satisfaction, of course, and requirements of the field that they plan.
They
Yep,
plan, yeah.
that was a quick correction I made before I sent it to you, and I clearly didn't read it before I made the change. Yeah.
And there's a he, she left in there that we could swap with a they.
Where's that?
Where,
Same page.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah, great.
okay, got it.
And actually, was there one more?
Will,
Because there, sorry, there's one of the B of alternative methods, so top of page 3.
B, top of page 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that's on page 2.
Oh,
All right, B, yeah, a student may.
a student may obtain credits through recovery and credit recovery in classes that they.
Yes, I've got that.
Oh, it is, okay,
Yeah,
so
I got
for
that.
here, it's not, all
Thank
right,
you.
great,
it's
yeah.
not.
Um. And,
Will, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tony.
no, you go ahead.
Oh, it's in the first letter B on page 2. The numbers 1 through 6. Will we be eliminating 1 through 4 at any point?
Yeah, we should. We'll need to bring it back. We want to get through the graduating class. But we'll be able to bring it back to you, and eliminate one, two, actually, we can probably eliminate all of it and just go back to what it was before, which was 15 hours, per year for a total of 60 hours.
Okay.
But we want to wait till we get through this graduating class before we change it.
Okay.
Anything else?
And just on that is, I don't know if we'd ever need to archive it or anything. I can't imagine. But just to kind of recognize, yeah, we did make this change
Mhm,
for this cohort.
mhm.
I almost wouldn't want it to just go away in a sense. If we needed to reference it for something, I don't know that we would. Nobody's gonna come back and say, what was your community service
Do we
hours?
have a history of our past policies based on effective dates?
Martha, I'm not sure if Martha does. I certainly have on my computer, when I make changes, I save all of that. I'm not sure what her filing system is. I don't know that we need.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Do we have a listing as to what constitutes community service hours?
At the high school, they have a form that needs to be filled out. We're actually, and it does include examples of places. Right now, it's nonprofits, and we're looking to expand that. A lot of our students, they're too young, to be able to get into a nonprofit without a parent. That creates an issue. And we don't have enough nonprofits in our area to
Service
service
everybody.
all of our students. So we may broaden that a bit.
And I was
So-
gonna say, what about students who have rather onerous family responsibilities? They have to go home and babysit younger.
That is not currently, no. Providing community service for family is not an approvable. So again, that is something they're looking at, but right now, working for family is not an approved community service.
I understand they try to make it pretty accessible for
Yeah.
students to be able to complete.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are families that have students need to participate.
Yeah.
One of the things we've done I know we've done Day of Caring as a way to weave that in. I know that COVID kind of took a hit on that.
Well, we stopped that before
Even before,
COVID for
yeah.
lots of
For other
reasons. But that is coming back this year, starting with our seniors.
Yeah.
So our seniors will be participating, I think it's May 23rd in Day of Caring. But there were lots of factors involved in why that was stopped. It was a proposal from Mr. Kempton
Right,
for lots of reasons.
yeah.
Can they volunteer at the school for various events?
For some things they can. We have to be careful, make sure that they don't take work away from an employee and can't volunteer to do something that we would be paying an employee to do. But there are volunteer opportunities.
And my final question on this is, do we have situations where if people graduate early, they complete everything within 3 years?
Yes.
They don't have to do 45 hours then, right?
No, they still have to do 60 hours. It's 60 hours to graduate. So if you're gonna graduate early, you still have to meet the 60 hours. So we have students who don't do a lick of community service till their senior year. So, yep. But there are lots of opportunities. We have students that will get over 1,000 hours of community service. We actually once had someone, I wanna say almost 3,000 once. Yeah.
3,000 of community service.
Yeah,
Wow.
a lot of volunteering, so, yep.
Just one last
Oh,
question. It's more of a formatting question, but like you just said, you have a lot of Bs. Is it worth just adding like Roman numerals or something into your sections so that you have like a 1B or a section 2A, you know? Just to make it a little easier to identify when you're looking at it, but I feel like typically they format that way.
Yeah, I didn't, Yeah, this is just the policy and I hadn't really looked at it in that terms. I can do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think what we need to do, actually, we could do the Roman numerals. I think we'd have to come up with a Roman numeral 1. Looks like, and actually, we need a 1A.
No, we don't have, we start with B.
Why? Oh, I see, because you
There's
don't
Start with
have.
B.
B on page 2, there's not an A.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So,
So probably where it says, in order for a student, that needs to be A. So we'll have to come up with a
a
title.
title of Roman numeral 1 title there, which
Minimum graduation requirements.
yep.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
If you want to match the language, it's already there, minimum requirements for graduation.
Minimum course requirements for graduation or?
Well, and we're not just talking about courses, we're talking about credits, so I would think
Maybe minimum credits
requirements.
for graduation.
I like the consistent language that Jack suggested from paragraph 3.
Kind of like
Like
that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Joanne. The course requirements, but we're also talking about the community service requirements. And it does also talk about I really appreciate the multiple pathways approach, which is a little bit, you know, when issues come up, right? But so that's where the phrasing minimum requirements for graduation would sort of
Okay.
kind of capture that as well, encompass that as well.
Okay, are we good?
All right. We good?
All right.
Do we need to vote on that one separately, or we'll just do all?
Let's just do them all together.
Let's go.
All right, then we've tried to start working on our job descriptions. Know that all of our job descriptions have, once they were created, they've been reviewed by, like the teacher one has been reviewed by administrators. It was shared with the Teachers Association. To my knowledge, they distributed it to their association, although that's, you know, up to Jeannie. And then they've gotten back to me, so lots of the feedback has been incorporated, so this is what I have.
So let's see, because these are fresh, it says indicate date, that's something we would do like today. At the end of, say,
No, that would be after the school board votes on
oh,
it twice.
thank you, right,
We'll treat it like a policy.
yep,
So it requires 2 reads. And we have a teacher job description. It's not that we don't, but this one is vastly different. The job description that we have is currently aligned with the teacher evaluation
Yep.
document. And it's just difficult to follow, difficult to read, and just not user-friendly at all. And so we thought streamlining it would be a better approach. So it doesn't need to be 10 pages long.
I like this. There is, under the legal and ethical duties, in number 4, we have, most of them have follows, observes, maintains, and then 4 just has follow. And I think probably would look better to match it. That does it on at least 2 policies.
Okay. Yeah, because I did some cutting and pasting, so if it was a mistake in one, I carried it forward to another one.
and then font size below evaluation first. Let's see.
Font size below evaluation, it changed?
Smaller.
Yeah, at the very end, the text gets very small. Well.
Yes, that's intentional.
Oh, it is, okay.
That's intentional. That's just like a note.
Footnote
Yeah.
style, okay, yep, Um,
Anything else other than that one? Awesome.
yeah,
All right, department head and team leader.
I'm sorry.
sure.
Oh, yes, no. Yeah, I'm moving on to that one as well.
I will make the change under 4, legal and ethical duties. I'll make that plural.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, received a lot of feedback and input. And so I really distinguished, the difference between a middle school position versus a high school because their job responsibilities are definitely different. So this has also been vetted by the association, by department heads, team leaders and administrators.
In the additional skills preferred, near the beginning, number 4, I think that should read strong ability to provide.
Sorry, we're,
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else? Great. Okay. The next one received the most feedback. It's always about athletics and not academics, right? And so we had I got some really great feedback. The people who provided that feedback just did an exceptional job in really going through this and providing some detail. You know, I think one of the, the concerns is that some of the duties that are listed here, which need to be listed here, like communicating with families and that type of thing, which is critical, but it technically falls outside of the time in which they're directly working with students. And we ask our coaches to complete timesheets, right? Because we have to make sure that they are meeting the minimum wage requirements. So there's concern that if all of that's being done outside of the workday, the time directly in front of students, then, that is really kind of jeopardizing the stipend and getting us critically close to not meeting the minimum wage requirements. So I thought that was really thoughtful in talking about and kind of sharing that concern. I have asked my office and they just gave me some information and I haven't had a chance to go through it deeply yet, but I asked my office staff to kind of pull together what other area school districts pay for stipends. If this is a factor and people are, with the increase in minimum wage, that means the fewer hours that they have to be able to work in front of students. So I asked that we kind of look around to see what other schools are compensating their coaches. And we are right in line, if not ahead, that we already pay better than many of the surrounding schools. So I don't know the solution to that part, but I wanted to make sure that I communicated the feedback from the coach or coaches who provided such a thoughtful response. I just wanted to make sure that you heard what their concerns were.
Do we, and I appreciate our process of requesting the timesheets, but do we know if those neighboring communities request the same kind of reporting where, our
I don't know.
we're pretty conscientious of our stipend, but
I don't know. What I do know is that there are a lot of school districts that don't.
Right, okay.
But if you get audited,
Right.
it's a problem.
So
So
like I
it
said, I
is,
appreciate that we do,
Yeah.
but I just wonder if, we're doing a great job compensating them, but
right. And I am worried, and that's a conversation actually that the negotiations team has had, so that's not a new issue, and Tony's on that negotiations committee. So it's something that will have to be brought up again, discussed, and determined how to move forward. And we'll do that collaboratively with the association.
Right, they got their eye on it.
Yeah.
And we do, yes. We do.
I had
What do you got, Jane?
here warrant article number 12.
Yes.
There's just a little dash
Oh, yeah.
hanging out at the end there.
Yeah.
Hang it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, lonely by itself.
I ran up on something in the previous one after we stopped talking about it, but now I've forgotten what it was.
Was it a good one?
Oh, here,
Found it?
yeah, I found it.
So back to the team lead,
Second. Yes, team leader position.
Where? I can't hear you.
Under the team leader position in the professional performance responsibilities at the bottom, 11 other performs is the only one in that list that has the S. So I would take the S off. That's it.
Okay.
We call them athletes throughout except for section 5 where it's student athlete academic success. And in those 2 bullets, we call them student athletes, is that?
Okay, I'm sorry. I was finishing that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Could you start again?
Number 5, under duties and responsibilities. The heading obviously is a student athlete academic success. And in those 2 bullets, we call our athletes student athletes, but throughout the rest of the document, we call them athletes. Is that consistent or?
It's probably, they say student athletes just because it's that title,
Yeah.
but
I see student athletes under 10.
where do you see just athletes?
Number 2,
Yep.
I guess where I was reading up to that point.
Individual student athletes, number 4. Okay, I will go through and see if there are other.
I don't know if I have preference either way, it's just kind of the consistency marking.
Well, kind of like we were laughing. Where the focus is, right, we do want to emphasize they are student athletes. I see it throughout, so I tend to say, yeah, if we're doing that. And actually, as I'm doing this search here, it looks like this number 2 had athletes.
Number 2 and number 4.
4, oh, there we go, sorry. Yeah. Yep,
Great. Anything else on these?
right. Just to clarify, so curriculum went through this and then all the staff.
Curriculum?
Sorry, oh, no, curriculum didn't go through this, they
No.
went through that, I can't.
Negotiating.
The staff participated. in-
I sent this to the president of the association, and I know that she shared it. And she then provided the feedback that she received from coaches. I don't know how many coaches respond, that wasn't shared with me. So I just have that information and I look to incorporate some of that as best I could, although I did not delete when there were comments about this happening outside of the direct time with students, because
Yeah, that.
that needs to be done regardless, that communication. I can give you, or like the recruiting, the selection, the organization, that all occurs before you're with students. I can't eliminate that. That's absolutely essential. There was a question about PD, that PD isn't paid, and I don't understand why. That should be paid. If there's a PD opportunity that we want to send coaches to, that we should pay for that. But there's times like developing game plans, that's done outside of coaching. Yep,
Right,
it absolutely is. There's a question about Power School and coaches getting grades, and some of our student athletes or some of our coaches rather, are not employees. They don't have access to Power School. Nope, and we're not giving it to them, they just can't have it. Just gonna have to work through Nate and figure out how to get that information to those coaches. So,
Could be a memorandum just to the coaches from individual teachers saying that the student is failing.
it could be an email if the coach, if the teachers are asked, so they know, which students that they need to provide some information on.
Or send it to the athletic director.
Yeah.
And have them disseminate it to the coaches.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, if there is a mandated minimum teacher salary, how does that affect anything here? Other than you have these minimum number of hours that coaches have to work. Well, I'm not understanding.
So for coaches, for teachers, there is not a minimum or a maximum number of hours. They're salaried.
Yeah.
Period. But for coaches, there is a requirement that they be compensated at least minimum wage. So if they are working 100 hours, and 100 hours based upon the stipend that we provide is only $10 an hour, then we're in violation of minimum wage laws. So we have to have them keep track of it. But that doesn't apply to teachers during the teaching day when they're performing as a teacher. It applies for the supplemental work.
Okay, but if we end up, I guess this is for the negotiating committee, what happens if, because of budgetary reasons, we have to cut teams or cut activities for students? We just tell them
We have the right to cut that.
just to cut it, okay? And then, so we don't just offer a set stipend amount. We do it by minimum.
No, they receive an X amount of money. It's a set
That's
amount that's
specified.
negotiated, so you get $5,000 for your stipend, right?
Right.
But they have to keep track of the hours, so we have to say in order to meet the minimum wage requirements, you can only work X number of hours for your position.
Okay, well, $5,000, that's a lot of hours at $15 an hour.
But depending on the number of weeks, it can be it's a lot of time.
Can
But-
run into it.
yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, we have run into it.
And
know.
not all stipends are,
No, they're not all
No.
that,
Yeah.
right? That's for like a varsity. A
That's-
varsity is somewhere around 5,800 for some of our
Yeah.
varsity sports,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
I'm just curious about the evaluation.
On
of
which
the-
one?
The athletic coach. That's the only one that differs from the other three. Is that intentional?
The evaluation,
Yeah, I think that the phone would double be evaluated in accordance with the school board policy. But this name's either a policy in particular.
oh, and on actually, it should end with policy. It should not have on evaluation of administrative.
Yeah.
No. I don't know that it matters. I think it's just being really clear, actually, that the administration is the entity doing the evaluation.
Okay.
But,
Right, is that the name of a policy? That's what I was trying to understand, I
No,
guess.
No, we actually do not have a
So I don't-
set policy on what evaluation tool we use for coaches. We have one, we have a set, evaluation tool, but it's not in board policy.
The way it's capitalized, I was thinking it was the name of one of our policies.
But why don't I just end it at policy and just,
Yeah.
okay,
And then, so under legal and ethical duties on the coach and the Tiger Food Pantry. Number 8. we say observes all school board policies, but on the other two, number 8, we say policies and procedures. Well, no, it's just again a technicality for consistency.
Yeah, and what happens is when we develop a new policy, we use, or a new job description, well, let's grab this job description, and so
Yeah.
sometimes those inconsistencies occur. The other thing that I do see on this one is, one, after evaluation, that should be a smaller font.
Hmm.
And we should add, the above job description reflects general requirements and not necessarily absolutely everything that the job encompasses. Okay.
Yeah.
Also two. Okay, we'll do that. All right, and then are we set with that? So we can move on to, yes, the
Okay.
next one is the Tiger Pantry. So the Tiger Pantry is a new job description, or a new stipend, I should say, that was approved this past negotiation session. And so we have been provided the draft job description from the stipend holder. And I just hadn't had time to turn it into an official job description. So this is what I have. Now I've shared it with the stipend holder, Rayanne, and she requested that under duties and responsibilities, that I add another section that I'm happy to do. And that says works with the Interact advisor to coordinate and communicate all aspects of the Tiger Food Pantry. Because it's the Interact Club that works so closely in overseeing the food pantry. Right now, Rayanne does both. But it doesn't necessarily have to be, the stipend holder doesn't have to hold both positions. So she thought it'd be really important to add that just in case at a future date, they're two separate people. So, which I think makes perfect sense. So
Yeah.
I'll see about adding that.
So right now she would get 2 stipends, one for the club and one for the pantry.
Duties and responsibilities, it looks like we need a number 8, it's a closed parenthesis.
Oh. Yes. Okay.
And actually, like a little bit above that, kind of in the side margin, I have a little line.
It's
That,
indicating the column.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
got
Yep,
it.
Space.
great.
I see it. I
Yeah.
don't know where it came from,
You
but.
mean the line, it's noting a change made on that.
Oh, right.
There's a space that's entered
Yeah.
in there.
It's-
Yeah, we'll fix that.
I can't hear.
Anything else?
Yeah, no, yeah, just the policies and procedures at the end. Talking
Yeah.
about, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wrote in duties.
Oh.
Procedures. Right. Great, then all we need is a recommendation from this committee to send these to the full board for a couple reads.
Great, so yeah, is it a motion or recommendation
It's a motion, but
to,
recommend to the board,
Yep.
right? First read, second read. I don't have the exact language in front of me.
so yeah, if somebody could make a motion.
I make a motion to send these policies to the board for their,
And job descriptions.
and, job descriptions, yes. Yes.
Seconded.
Awesome, any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Great,
All right.
thank you all.
Hey, look at that.
So are we adjourned?
We are adjourned, yes, thank you.
6:15. Great.